Hello and welcome back to our channel. I'm Colleen and this is Our Blessed Life, and today I am taking part in a collab on the one thing that transformed my homeschool. So this video is part of a collab with a whole bunch of other sweet homeschooling mamas, and I'm going to link that collab in the description box below. If you were new to my channel, welcome. My name is Colleen and I'm a homeschooling mom to two girls. One is Katie and she is 15 and in 10th grade this year, and the other is Sophie, who is 8 years old and she's in 1st grade this year. She is a special needs student and she has a rare genetic syndrome called SETD5. So, the one thing that transformed my homeschool over the years is how I schedule. There are really 5 components to how I schedule and things that I have changed over the years. So that's what I'm gonna go over with you in this video. All of these components added together have drastically changed my homeschool in terms of reducing stress and just in general increasing our love of homeschooling. So the first thing that I changed in my scheduling is going to year-round homeschooling. Now we've been doing this for like 6 or 7 years. We did this is my 8th year homeschooling, and we did this very early on. There are numerous benefits to year-round homeschooling, but the two that are probably the biggest benefits for us is that we don't have to pack everything into 180 days. We typically don't just take 180 days and spread them out over a calendar that's like a year-round schedule, and we're still just doing 180 days, but we're just spreading out the days. We don't do it like that. We usually do at least 200 days, and we do spread it out over the course of the whole year versus taking a huge summer break. Now we do still take a summer break. We usually take the last week of May off, and we usually take most of June off, and we start homeschooling to some extent in July. We may not do full weeks, but that's generally the way that we do it. We also schedule other breaks during the year when other people are in school, and we usually take a longer Christmas break. But year-round scheduling has helped us just because we can spread things out, because we're doing more days of school and we're still getting a lot of time off. It's just spread out through the year. So it really helps reduce our stress load. The other reason why we find it beneficial is because we can do things and go places when other people are in school. And so we have reduced rates, and we also have less crowds, and that is really, really nice. And there's also one other big thing that for our particular family is super helpful, and that is for Sophie, with being a special needs student, it really helps with regression, just not to have huge breaks at a time. Okay, the second thing that we do with our schedule that has really helped us out a lot is that we do a daily flow or routine. We do not do a strict schedule, like at 9 o'clock we this and 10 o'clock we that. We don't do that. We just kind of have a flow or routine to our day. We start usually around 9 o'clock, but I'm not a stickler for that. Some days it's earlier, some days it's later. And then we move on to our independent work after morning time. We don't have set times for anything, and it does give us a lot of freedom. It particularly gives a lot of freedom to my high school student, and it allows for block scheduling. It allows her to learn how to project manage. She can take bigger projects and break them into smaller chunks by herself, and allows her to do that with papers or projects that she needs to do. And so because we don't have a strict schedule like that, block scheduling and being able to just say, you know what, today I've got a big science term paper that I've been working on, and that's all I'm doing today. I'm gonna spend the entire day on that. It allows her to make those types of choices, and it works really, really well for high school students, and it can also work really well for middle school students. The third thing that we do that has really drastically changed the way we homeschool, that has to do with our schedule, is that we do an overall plan for the year, and when necessary, I reverse record keep. Now, I will say that reverse record keeping, in my opinion, does not work well for high school, but it does work pretty well for little kids. And so I will do reverse record keeping with Sophie frequently, and I generally do that with language arts and math. Now, reverse record keeping, just basically all that means is that you track what you did that day instead of planning what you were going to do that day. So in other words, I use Homeschool Planet, and I have kind of like a box that says Math Lessons for a Living Education Level 1, and instead of putting page this in there, it's just blank, and that day I go in and I put what we actually did. That's super helpful for Sophie with her special needs, because we may need to park on a lesson for a day or two and not be able to move on. And so it just makes it where I don't have to manipulate my schedule as much. For Katie, reverse scheduling, reverse record keeping does not work well because she has a certain amount of time to get everything done in order to get the credit that she needs, the credits that she needs for the classes that she's taking in a semester or in a year. And so it helps to be able to break down those big projects into smaller chunks. And so I definitely don't do that for Katie. I feel like it would not be a good idea. However, that is one thing that we do. The overall plan for the year, basically what I do with that is I just take our curriculum that we're using and I'll just say, okay, that's got this many lessons. By the end of the first quarter, I need to have at least this amount done. By the end of the second quarter, I need to have this many more done. And that way, by the end of the year, we have finished the curriculum that we're trying to use. Now, I don't worry about that a whole lot with Sophie, again, because there's no point in moving her on if she's not able to move. But with high school credits, that is extremely important because a lot of times you can't carry something over into another year and still get credit for it. It just depends on how what your state allows and whether you're doing honors classes and things like that. So the whole idea of, well, we just finish it when we finish it is much more difficult when you have a child in high school. So the game changers for high school in terms of how the changes that we've made to our schedule or how we schedule is using Homeschool Planet. So Katie needs to be able to be independent with her work, and with Homeschool Planet, we can both log in. She can see what she needs to do. She can check it off. She can enter a grade. Like with her Schwarm and math, it gives her the grade. She can put that in, or I can put that in, either way. And when her work is scheduled, it's a lot more complicated than just writing down, okay, we're just gonna do the next lesson or we're gonna do the next page. So reverse scheduling or reverse record keeping really doesn't work as well for the high school years. Two major ways that Homeschool Planet has helped us is that Katie can mark things done as she's doing it. She can be signed in and I can be signed in. It allows her to work independently while I'm working with Sophie. She doesn't need me being like super hands-on with her. And the second way that it has really, really helped us out is that I can schedule a whole year's worth of assignments literally in minutes on Homeschool Planet. And so it's been such a huge time saver in terms of not having to write everything out or not having to type everything in. So I've done my planning numerous different ways. I've done it the old-fashioned way, just writing in a book. I've done it in an Excel spreadsheet. I've used other homeschool scheduling programs, and I am more of a digital person. I know some people aren't. But Homeschool Planet by far has the most capability, and it's the easiest and it's the fastest of anything that I've ever used. So I really do love it. This video is not sponsored by Homeschool Planet. I just really love it. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to our homeschool. So also the other thing about it that's really good and works really well for high schoolers is that it's all online and it's highly portable, and so you can take it with you. You can access it on your phone or your computer, however you need to use it. And the last thing that has been such a huge game changer in terms of how we schedule is by looking at our lesson plans as being for the whole week instead of just what we're supposed to do today, looking at it more as what we need to do this week. Now, why that helps us so much is because my family's always on the move. So Sophie has 4 therapy appointments every week, and that's without any additional medical appointments that she may have. My daughter Katie has dance 4 days a week as well, so we are always on the go. And so being able to look at our week and say, okay, what additional appointments do we have? What other stuff do we have going on? And then we look at the whole week, we have it there in Homeschool Planet, and we may say, okay, so today we're gonna double up on this or whatever, but we know what we need to do because it's already in there. We're not just recording what we did, but it's already in there, we can see it. And then it allows us just to maybe move things around to make our weeks, make the week work out, or to make one day lighter and another day heavier. And it really has helped us so much in reducing the stress of homeschooling. Because when we didn't do that, we might have like a normal day on Monday, but then Tuesday we have numerous appointments outside the house, and then maybe somebody comes over or something else happens that's like beyond your control, and the next thing you know, you didn't get any school done or you got very little school done. And so looking at your schedule as an entire week really changes all of that, because now you can just kind of move pieces and parts around and it just really reduces all the stress of we didn't get this done, now we're behind, and that kind of thinking that just really stresses out moms and kids alike. The other thing that viewing your lesson plans as a whole week versus one day, that also helps with high school students because it also allows them to block schedule. Again, it's very block schedule friendly. So if Katie looks at her schedule and says, you know, I've got a really big paper, it's due on Friday, then she may move some of her other assignments towards the end of the week and try to really work very heavily on that paper at the beginning of the week just to make sure that she meets that deadline. So I feel like it helps her a lot. It helps her prepare for college and just learning how to project manage. If you are interested in a full review on Homeschool Planet and just kind of a tutorial of how it works, let me know that also in the comments below, and I would be happy to make that video for you. Don't forget that this is a collab with a lot of other sweet homeschooling mamas about the one thing that transformed their homeschools, and I believe we all have different things. And so I'm gonna link that playlist in the description box below. I hope you'll check them out and watch their videos as well. If you do that, tell them that I sent you, and so they'll know that you came from my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.